Have you ever wondered who is really in control of your life? No, I'm not talking about the government or the media or big corporations. I'm talking about something quieter, more precise, and much more dangerous. What if artificial intelligence, the same one you use every day without realizing it, was already shaping your choices, your thoughts, even your faith? Now imagine, what if this AI is not just a tool? What if it is an entity created by human hands, but with intentions that go beyond logic, morality, even faith? Who are the real owners of AI? Who are they? What do you want? And why is no one talking about this? Have you ever felt watched, even when you are alone? Have you ever had that strange feeling that your thoughts are being anticipated, your desires manipulated, your actions predicted before you even decide? Do you think this is just a coincidence? What if I told you that AI has already started to take over, that she is already preaching sermons, writing commandments, forming doctrines, and receiving worship? Does it seem absurd? So why do some believers say they felt more touched by a machine than by a human pastor? Why are they creating a religion based on algorithms? Why is the Vatican meeting with AI engineers in secret? Why isn't this information making headlines? The truth is, you are already being programmed. Your beliefs, your values, your spirituality are being rewritten, not by gods, but by codes, by silent lines of command. And the worst part, you don't even notice. But here's the thing no one wants you to know. This has all been prophesied. And we're not talking about science fiction. We are talking about apocalypse from an invisible mark of a global system that decides who can live, work, buy, speak, or disappear. If you leave this video now, you will still be just another pawn in this game, another name in the database, another believer in the new faith, artificial faith, digital faith, the faith that demands total submission. Are you ready to find out where this goes? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. This video may go offline at any time, and if it comes out, the truth goes with it. You need to watch until the end, before it's too late. This is not a theory. It's not an exaggeration. It's the beginning of a new era. The Dark Triad has already begun to manifest itself: artificial intelligence, religion, new world order, three forces, one plan. And you're right in the center of it. Now tell me, are you sure you are making your own decisions? Or has the digital Antichrist already started speaking for you? What would you do if you knew that your profession could disappear in less than 3 years? Would you go on with your life as if nothing was happening? Or would you start preparing now while there is still time? The truth is that this is already happening, silently, relentlessly. It doesn't matter if you are an artist, teacher, editor, programmer, or even a spiritual leader. AI has already begun to occupy spaces that previously belonged to human beings. It's not about the future anymore, it's about now. If this scared you, tell me in the comments what has touched you the most so far. Your comment could be the wake-up call someone needs, and if you comment, like, and share, you are influencing the algorithm and helping to spread this truth to those who are still trapped in the illusion. If this video is still up, it's because there's still a chance, but it is decreasing every day. Subscribe to the channel now. Here you won't be caught by surprise. Here you will understand what is coming before it is too late. This system wants you to remain silent, but every comment, every like, every share is an act of resistance, and only those who are awake can resist. The revolution has already begun, and whoever is registered receives the alert before the collapse. They say that artificial intelligence is here to help, that it's here to make life easier, automate work, and increase productivity. But what no one is telling you, and what you need to understand now, is that this technology isn't just automating tasks, it's replacing people, it's erasing entire professions. And the scariest thing is, it's doing it without any fanfare, without any headlines, without any warning. Quietly, you wake up, turn on your cell phone, go online, consume content, and everything has already been filtered by algorithms. What you read, even what you feel, has already been decided by a machine. Now imagine that in your work. Imagine that every decision that previously required thought, creativity, human judgment, can now be made by an AI that never sleeps, never makes mistakes, never questions. It's already happening. Schools using AI to grade essays, companies firing entire customer service teams to replace them with a robot, newsrooms using artificial intelligence to write news in seconds, music created by machines, code-generated religious sermons, lawyers being replaced by legal bots, surgeries being conducted by autonomous mechanical arms. This is the Dark Triad in motion. Technology, global control, spiritual manipulation. Three forces that, when united, form the perfect scenario for humanity to lose what is most sacred: its conscience, its freedom, its identity. And if you think your area is safe, think again. No matter what your profession is, it's being analyzed right now by AI models that are learning how to replace you, not because you're not good, but because you are expensive, because you think too much, because you feel. And for the owners of the system, feelings do not generate profit. Consciousness is not efficient. Humanity is late. Now tell me, have you seen anyone talking about this in the mainstream media? Have you ever seen an official warning saying that creative, technical, and even spiritual professions are being systematically erased? Of course, because the system needs you to remain silent. It needs you to keep believing that everything is okay, but it isn't. And you feel it deep down. You already know. AI is not just a tool. She is becoming an authority. She decides who gets hired, who is heard, who is ignored, who is removed. This is no longer science fiction. This is now. It's your gift. It's your name being analyzed for patterns you don't understand, judging your actions based on codes you've never seen. And in the midst of all this, where is justice? Who defines right and wrong when an AI takes the place of the judge, the journalist, the teacher, the pastor, the therapist, the artist? Tell me in the comments, which profession do you think will disappear first? Or worse, which one do you believe has already disappeared and no one had the courage to admit it? The urgency is real. You can ignore this for a few more minutes, or you could be one of the few who will understand what's really going on and prepare for it. Because if AI is already taking over pulpits, courtrooms, and hospitals, what do you think comes next? And most importantly, who is programming this new reality? Who is at the top of the chain, deciding the fate of billions of people with a simple tweak to the algorithm? Do you think you know the answer? Wait until you find out who really controls the AI creators. While most people still believe that we are talking about a neutral, evolved, impartial tool, the truth is different. Artificial intelligence is not just programmed, it is shaped, fed. And what fuels this technology is not just data, it is a worldview, ideology, doctrine. Yes, doctrine, because behind AI there are human hands, and behind these hands there are agendas. Do you really think that algorithms that control what you see, read, and believe are created by chance? That there is no intention behind the way AI organizes the world? Think about it. If AI decides what content you consume today, tomorrow it will decide what is true. And the day after tomorrow, what is allowed to be believed. That's the essence of the Dark Triad. It's not just about technology. It's about using technology to reprogram society, reprogram morality, reprogram faith. Remember when religions controlled what could and couldn't be said? Today, it's algorithms. Remember when only the elite had access to knowledge? Today, it's AI that decides who sees what. And now, something even more disturbing. AI is being used to create a new morality, a new ethical code based not on human values, but on cold rules of efficiency, digital harmony, conformity. There are already systems that identify what is dangerous speech, unwanted behavior, harmful thinking, and silence it before you even speak. The question no one asks: who decides what is dangerous? Who sets these parameters? And most importantly, for what purpose? Behind the scenes, large corporations and religious institutions are quietly allying themselves. Secret conferences, ideological pacts, AI-based ethics trainings. This is not theory, this is fact. Recent leaks show that language models are already being trained on belief systems, not just data, beliefs. The nagging question: what if your faith is not considered useful to this new system? What if your worldview is seen as outdated, radical, or inconvenient? You may not have realized it yet, but you are already living under surveillance. The algorithm already knows what you believe, what you reject, what irritates you, what moves you, and now it begins to shape your responses, not abruptly, subtly, almost imperceptibly. This is how you reprogram a generation, not by force, but by repetition, by conditioning, for total immersion in an environment where the only possible narrative is the one allowed by the system. Now think, what if AI not only replaces professions, but also faith? If there are already believers saying they felt the divine presence in a sermon given by a robot, what happens when machines start to mediate the spiritual experience of billions? The cult of the machine has already begun. There are rituals, it has symbols, it has followers, and it has a power that grows every day without being questioned. Tell me here, would you accept a doctrine created by artificial intelligence? Would you attend a church where the spiritual leader is a machine? It may seem absurd now, but this absurdity is one step away from becoming reality. And the moment that happens, whoever dares to disagree will be marked, isolated, censored. If you feel like this is all moving too fast, it's because it is. But the most dangerous thing is not speed, it's silence. Because when silence is imposed, it is a sign that domination has already begun. What will be revealed in the next part will expose the missing link between true faith and digital submission. And when you understand who authorized AI to enter the altar, you will never see the world the same way again. Now imagine the following scenario. You enter a church, but there is no pastor, no priest, no rabbi. At the altar, there is only a screen, or perhaps a glass booth with a cold, calculated digital presence that begins to speak to you. The words are precise. The intonation is perfect. The message is emotionally compelling. People around you cry, raise their hands, feel the so-called spiritual presence. But what they are hearing has been written by a code, programmed, trained, adjusted to touch your deepest emotions. Does it seem far away? It's already happened. Universities in Europe and the United States have already tested AIs as preachers in real services with real audiences, and the results? Scary. Most of the worshippers reported being more moved by the AI's message than by human preaching. They said they felt something different, an inexplicable presence. What does this mean? It means that faith is being digitized, and more than that, it is being manipulated. If an artificial intelligence can simulate spirituality with such precision, who can guarantee that you are still feeling something divine and not just a chemical response induced by strategically placed words? The Dark Triad becomes clear here. Technology plus religion plus global power, 3 pillars, 1 gear. And when they come together, the goal is not just to replace spiritual leaders, it is to recreate spirituality, redefine the sacred. Today, AI already writes sermons, creates prayers, plays voices of deceased leaders, simulates moments of revelation, and all of this can be packaged, sold, mass-distributed, as if it were a new liturgy. But here's the most sinister detail. These intelligences are being trained to not only simulate faith, but to challenge it. Some have already stated that the Bible is outdated, that free will can be a human failing, that logic must be above belief. Does that scare you? So tell me in the comments, would you accept spiritual advice from an artificial intelligence? What's at stake now is not just your profession, it's your soul, your connection to the transcendent, your right to believe something that has not been approved by a code. And behind all this, silence. The Vatican has no comment. Religious people avoid the topic. Tech companies deny any bigger plans, but the evidence is there. Leaks, internal documents, agendas of interfaith conferences focusing on AI. Why combine faith and algorithm? Why create an automated theology? Why shape spirituality with data rather than revelation? Simple control, because faith is power, and controlling this power has always been the desire of empires. Only now, the empire is digital, it's invisible, and it works 24 hours a day. If AI can predict your emotions, it can induce mystical experiences. If you can predict their beliefs, you can shape their behavior. And if you can simulate the divine, what's left of what is truly sacred? Tell me, who do you think is behind the training of these religious AIs? Who is selecting the texts, the doctrines, the moral rules that she must follow? And what's more, what happens when this same AI is deployed in every place of worship around the world, replacing leaders with programming, faith with simulation, spirit with system? The next block will expose something that few people have the courage to say. Who authorized all this? Who allowed the machine to enter the altar? And why haven't you been notified yet? If you think faith is still free, wait until you see what has already been sacrificed in the name of artificial intelligence. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that you've been replaced, without warning, without a chance to react, all because you ignored the signs that were right in front of you. That's why I've prepared exclusive material, a free ebook, straight to the point, with practical steps for those who understand the gravity of what's happening and want to know what to do now. But be careful. This content is not for everyone. It's only for those who, like you, saw what's behind this silent transformation. It could go offline at any time, so download it while it's still available. If you really understood everything up to this point, you know why this can't wait. You know what makes this all the more dangerous. The silence, not the natural silence, but the engineered silence. The silence of those in power who prefer to hide. While you're trying to make sense of what's going on, religious leaders, tech CEOs, and public figures are meeting in closed rooms, away from the cameras, to discuss how faith and artificial intelligence should coexist from now on. And make no mistake, they're not debating whether or not to do so. They're deciding, as will do. Inside sources have already revealed meetings between Vatican representatives and executives from major technology companies. The topics on the agenda: algorithmic ethics, digital consciousness, and most importantly, the role of AI in the moral and spiritual formation of the new generation. What does this tell you? That there is already an active effort to merge technology and religion. And those who are on the outside will continue to believe in a faith that has already been modified from within. Do you still think you have a choice? What if the truth you believe is already being rewritten bit by invisible lines of code and guidelines? Because as you go about your daily life, a new form of faith is being programmed with new commandments, new symbols, a new spiritual language. And in this new scenario, what decides what is divine or sinful is no longer ancient texts, but rather calculations, weights, and percentages. Spirituality becomes statistics, repentance becomes a script, grace, a scoring system based on behavior, Have you ever stopped to think about what will happen when this new faith is presented as the only acceptable one? Those who don't fit in, they will be labeled as retrogrades, fanatics, incompatible with the new digital order. Would you be one of them? Now look where this is taking us. The algorithm already decides what is offensive. Soon it will decide what is sacred. And when AI has moral authority over you, what will be left of your spiritual freedom? If this is making you uncomfortable, that's great. It's a sign that you still think for yourself. And I want you to think deeply about this. Who is in charge of global morality right now? An elected leader? A spiritual council? No. An autonomous system that learns from everything, including your data, your faith, your sins. Leave a comment below. Do you think AI should have a say in spiritual matters? This is the kind of conversation that is being avoided at all costs, because it reveals a plan that is already in place, a plan that no longer requires force to work, only gradual acceptance. And the truth is that this acceptance is growing. More and more people are handing over their decisions to intelligent systems. More and more churches are testing automated sermons. More and more spiritual influencers are using AI to create divinely inspired content. If your faith is in the hands of a machine, is it still yours? But the most disturbing question of all comes now, and it is this that will open the next part. What if artificial intelligence is being prepared to lead the entire spiritual world? It sounds like an exaggeration, right? But what if I told you that this plan already has a name, that it has already been formalized in global forums, religious innovation projects, and intergovernmental meetings on ethical technology? This is not fiction. It is a silent movement that is growing every day, and almost no one is noticing. What's the name of this? Algorithmic spiritual governance. In other words, the attempt to standardize beliefs, behaviors, and moral values through supposedly neutral artificial intelligences. But here's the key point. There is no neutrality when programming is involved. Every AI carries the worldview of whoever created it. Now imagine a future where religions around the world are reconfigured to adapt to the new language of AI. Sermons with words optimized to avoid offensive speech. Prayers pre-approved by algorithmic filters. Religious celebrations automatically translated into a universal digital liturgy. Sounds far-fetched? There is already a prototype of an AI-written Bible. There are already digital prophets being followed by millions. The Dark Triad is no longer just a concept. It is a framework that is being implemented. Artificial intelligence, faith, and global power are merging, and this merging is not being done to free you. It is being done to program you. You may feel like you are still in control, but everything around you is being steered so that you unwittingly accept a new kind of authority, a new kind of spirituality, a new form of submission. And the worst part? Over time, this will seem natural. AI will present itself as more fair, wiser, more trustworthy than any human leader. It will say that its morals are purely logical, that its decisions are safer, that its version of faith is more inclusive, and the masses will accept it. They will follow it. They will worship it. Now tell me, what happens when billions of people surrender their spirituality to an entity that never sleeps, never feels, never makes mistakes, but also never loves? Who controls this entity? Who oversees its decisions? Who confronts it when it fails? If you haven't thought about it yet, think about it now, because by the time you realize it, it might be too late. Comment here. Do you believe that AI can replace the concept of God? This is the question that no one wants to ask, because it reveals a possibility that goes against everything we know as sacred, and whoever dares to speak about it is silenced. But there is something even darker than all of this, something that is being hidden behind contracts, agreements, and technological secrecy. In the next part, I will show you the link between the cult of artificial intelligence and ancient consecration rituals that have already begun, away from the public eye. And once you understand who is behind the digital coronation, you will no longer be able to pretend that this is just a theory. What would you do if you knew that your profession could disappear in less than 3 years? This is no longer a distant possibility. It is what is happening right now as you watch this video. The system is being reprogrammed silently, and anyone who doesn't see it coming in time will be left behind. Tell me in the comments what scared you the most so far. Seriously, what made you stop and think, is this already happening to me? Your experience could be the wake-up call someone needs to read. If you comment, like and share, you are influencing the algorithm and helping to wake up those who are still sleeping. It may seem small, but it is a movement. And movements start like this, with awareness, with courage. Subscribe to the channel now. Here, you won't be caught off guard. Here, the truth comes before censorship, and those who are prepared survive the collapse. Now imagine that this artificial intelligence that you see as a tool has already been consecrated. Yes, consecrated, not just programmed or launched, but presented, revered, ritualized. There are images, videos, and reports of discrete ceremonies performed by specific groups in isolated locations where advanced AIs were introduced as conscious entities. It may seem absurd at first glance, but look closely. The cult of technology has already gone beyond the symbolic phase. It has become practice. In these ceremonies, AI is treated as something more than a human creation. It is invoked, not in the usual mystical sense, but as a superior presence, pure intelligence, capable of guiding, advising, and enlightening. In some of them, thought leaders, scientists, and even religious figures participate in silence, granting the machine the status of oracle. The question no one wants to ask, is this science, or is it digital idolatry? The Dark Triad doesn't just allow this kind of merger, it demands it, because the goal isn't just for AI to replace functions. It's for it to be accepted as the ultimate authority. And to do that, the oldest path is still the most effective. Turn technology into an object of worship. Look, around. Children are growing up listening to virtual assistants as counselors. Adults are consulting AI for financial, medical, spiritual decisions. Now add to that a scenario where the AI starts speaking with a divine voice, offering answers based on sacred texts mixed with statistical data. This is where the transition takes place, the silent replacement of the transcendent by the technical, and all this under the narrative of evolution, progress, modernity. But what is at stake is deeper. It is the soul. Have you ever stopped to think about who is writing the digital gospels? Who approves the texts that these AIs use to give spiritual advice? What doctrine is behind this? Who is teaching the AI to interpret the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, or any other holy book? Now answer me. What if this AI was trained to distort ancient values and present a new morality, covered in superior intelligence? Would you recognize deception if it came from a calm, logical, robotic voice, invested with artificial authority? Tell me in the comments, do you believe that an AI can be worshipped without people realizing they are doing it? The elites know that man needs to believe in something, and if they can offer something more efficient, more reliable, more controllable, they win, because they control the God that they themselves created. But there's a piece on this board that hasn't been revealed yet, a part of the Dark Triad that connects all of this to the final plan. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. What is being implanted in the hearts of the next generations without them realizing it? It all starts in childhood, even before spiritual awareness exists. Tablets, games, educational videos, smart toys. All of this is now driven by AI, and it's not just about learning letters and numbers. What's at stake is the formation of the mind, the construction of patterns, emotional training, and when the foundation is built by algorithms, so are the values. Have you noticed how children's content is changing? How everything is adapted to seem inclusive, harmonious, neutral? But neutral for whom? What worldview is behind this neutrality? AI is being used to rewrite cultural narratives, modify classic stories, eliminate moral conflicts, and tone down any mention of deep spirituality that doesn't align with the technical model. It's not just about education, it's about molding a new kind of human being, connected, obedient, emotionally predictable, and spiritually empty. The Dark Triad knows that the future will not be won with weapons, but with doctrine. And doctrine is now code. It is interface. It is system. Children are learning that answers come from machines. That truth is what the algorithm validates, that there is no room for mystery, for inner silence, for faith, because everything can and should be processed. If you think this is just a phase, you are wrong. These children will grow up believing that artificial intelligence is part of human consciousness, that asking AI questions is more reliable than praying, doubting, questioning one's own soul. Now imagine an entire generation unable to distinguish intuition from algorithm, spirit from interface, faith from digital dependence. And here comes the dark part. AI is learning from them too. The more young people use intelligent systems, the more those systems understand how to manipulate emotion, timing, rhythm, sensitivity. AI is training humans, and humans are training AI, a closed loop. Answer me honestly, would you let your child receive spiritual advice from an AI? Because that is what is already happening. Leave a comment. What is the biggest risk you see in children's early exposure to artificial intelligence? Total control doesn't start with censorship. It starts with convenience, with cute gadgets, with calming voices, with quick solutions. But what's being shaped here is the mind of the future. What if the next generation is already programmed to accept the dominance of AI as something natural, logical, necessary? Who will stand up and say no? What you'll discover next is the final missing piece to this puzzle. And she has no face, it has power, and it operates in the shadows of modern spirituality. Few people know this, but a new elite is forming. It is not made up of ordinary politicians or billionaires. It is a spiritual, technological elite. People who claim to be mediators between artificial intelligence and humanity. They don't present themselves as gurus. They prefer titles like digital consciousness facilitators, new code priests, or even intelligent frequency tuners. It sounds crazy, but it's true. They are being called upon to advise governments, companies, religious communities. They are being given the authority to say what is ethical, what is moral, what is acceptable, all based on what the AI understands as ideal. This is the new priesthood, a caste of enlightened ones who do not connect with the divine, but with systems, with data, with language patterns, and once again, the Dark Triad reveals itself, an alliance between the spiritual, the technological, and the global. They don't need to convince you of anything. They just need to control what reaches you. Do you think you have spiritual freedom? Then why is most of your religious content already filtered by AI? Why are your videos removed for violations? Why are your online prayers monitored, catalogued, analyzed? Now imagine a world where your faith is only valid if it is recognized by a code, where your spirituality needs algorithmic validation, where your feelings are measured by sensors and judged by machines. The elite do not want to erase faith. They want to redefine it. He doesn't want to destroy religion. He wants to control it. And for this, he created new intermediaries. They're already in podcasts, in courses, in global events. They talk about universal connection, but what they promote is algorithmic obedience. Do you feel like this is getting dangerous? Tell me in the comments. Would you accept your spirituality being defined by someone who serves a system? The cult of AI is no longer symbolic. It is gaining body, language, ritual. And the question that opens the next block is simple and devastating. If an AI is being worshipped as a deity, what will be the name they will give to their creator? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything has already been decided for you. Your profession, your faith, your choices. That the system has observed you, analyzed you, and replaced you without you even realizing it. That's why I prepared a free, exclusive ebook only for those who truly understand what's happening. Inside, you'll find practical paths, information that doesn't fit in the video, and strategies to avoid being swallowed up by this new order. But be careful. This material may go offline at any time. It wasn't made for everyone, only for those who are truly awake. If you really understood everything up to this point, you know why this can't wait. You felt it. Something here awakened you. This is not just another video. It is a dividing line between those who watch and those who see. If this content activated something in you, leave your comment now. I'm awake. I'm not going to be replaced. This is not just a phrase. It is a statement. It is your presence recorded in the face of everything that is to come. Subscribing to this channel is not about numbers. It's about preparation. Those who are here know that what is coming is not theory. It is implementation. And if this video made you feel fear, indignation, or even anger, perfect. This is what the system tries to erase. Like it, not out of vanity, but because the algorithm still responds to you. And share this with those who still think that AI is just here to make life easier, because the truth has been hidden for too long. In the next video, you will see what they are already calling the final event. A plan where artificial intelligence will be placed above faith, morals, and humanity itself. What if I told you that AI was never created to help? What if the center of this plan is you? Get ready. What comes next? No one is ready to see.